DNA to Planning for 3rd through 5th grade. My name is Arely Mesa Jessamine. I am the Instructional Officer for Reading Language Arts 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and my colleague, Ms. Jeanette Limon, will be presenting for Social Studies 3rd, 4th, and 5th as well. Welcome to this session, DNA to Planning, using Reading Language Arts and Social Studies pacing tools. The purpose of the pacing tools is to provide teachers with suggested pacing and sequencing when planning from the IFD. The sheer volume of information found on an IFD can be intimidating, so the pacing tools help chunk the learning for more efficient lesson planning. The tools are not intended to be used as lesson plans or as scripted daily curriculum. The DNA to Planning objectives. The DNA, or code for planning, is in the TEKS that drive what is taught. For this session, we will understand the design of the new RLA pacing tool, understand the Social Studies pacing tool and how it is used to plan instruction, and how to use both Social Studies and RLA pacing tools to write the code of explicit, systematic, and integrated instruction. For RLA, the performance assessments in the instructional focus document outline ways to assess students' skills in all domains over the course of the unit. Because of the integrated nature of Reading Language Arts, the performance assessment may not be done one at a time or in order noted by the number on the IFD. Instead, they may be done at the same time throughout the unit. Typically, a performance assessment focuses on word study, reading, or writing and requires more than one day to accomplish. For example, a performance assessment requiring students to go through the writing process to write a personal narrative would not be done in a single day. Rather, a student would complete different steps of the performance assessment throughout the unit so that by the last day of the unit, the entire performance assessment has been completed. Because most of the performance assessments contain steps that progress over the course of a unit, they may be done concurrently throughout an integrated approach to instruction, such as the Balanced Literacy Framework. The Reading Language Arts performance assessment may also have multiple rubrics attached to it. Teachers should thoroughly study the performance assessment prior to planning instruction for the unit. For writing, you may also use the rubrics found in the writing program, Writable. Because all instructional planning should begin with the unit instructional focus document, refer to your TEKS resource system for specificity. A printable student-friendly handout is linked for each performance assessment. For our district, each component of balanced literacy is also noted. Additional notes have been provided, such as Social Studies connections in purple and when to refer to specificity. Remember, this is not a lesson plan. Each performance assessment has a separate pacing tool which lays out the suggested sequence of learning for successful completion of each PA, but the tools are compiled into one document. In this example, there are 3 performance assessments for the unit. A summary of the performance assessment and the SCs that it measures are included in each section. For our district, the word study performance assessment will be replaced with the content from Johnny Can Spell. In the next section, the vocabulary associated with each performance assessment is noted. Refer to the instructional focus document for definitions and related vocabulary. The notes in the teachers section have been added by the writer of the pacing tools to aid in planning. Please read thoroughly before planning. There may be teacher notes added to the performance assessments themselves. This information will be italicized. You may also find additional teacher notes within the days of the tool. Each suggested day gives the student expectations, guiding questions, lesson objective, and the evidence of learning. Oftentimes, the evidence of learning will refer back to the steps detailed in the performance assessment.
With your Social Studies pacing tools, not very much has changed since last year. There are some additions, though, that will help you correlate your Reading Language Arts and Social Studies. So as with your RLA pacing tool, the correlations will be added in purple text. Note the claim that your RLA skills, strategies, and content can be spiraled and applicable throughout the academic year. There has also been a row added to specifically indicate direct correlation to the RLA pacing. It will include strategies and skills to embed within your social studies curriculum. Another area in the pacing tools of correlations is in the suggestive formative assessment row. And finally, the final row in the pacing tool now houses resources you can utilize. RLA resources can also be placed in this row as your CAC members meet and add them to them. Every classroom is unique. The teachers must use the resources and tools available to make informed, responsive decisions regarding how to best address the needs of the students in their class within the timeframes they have. Now that you have developed an understanding of the pacing tools, we will delve deeper into the planning and integrating the tools. We will begin the process on how to plan using both tools. Everything begins with the reading and understanding the IFD, the unit overview. This will provide background on the context of the unit, how the SEs are bundled, and how they will be assessed. You will thoroughly read through the IFD. You will build knowledge of universal skills that overlap both contents. Open the social studies and RLA tools side by side, just as you view here. Note the number of the days for each tool is not identical. You may need to open more than one tool to look for alignment in the number of days. Get the tools on a day-by-day basis. For RLA, begin with day 1 and read across for all the components of the Balanced Literacy Framework. Then read down through each column. Note the suggestive evidence of learning and identify the skills or strategies to be taught. For social studies, read through the learning objectives and identify where students will be able to implement, replicate, and practice any of the RLA skills or strategies. For example, if you are using an anchor chart for vocabulary in RLA, use the same anchor chart for social studies vocabulary. There are some annotations of where to make social studies and RLA correlations within the tools, but you may want to further your connections due to resources, teaching style, and of course student data. Please note that the connections or integration for social studies and RLA may not be every day. The in-depth understanding of both contents will facilitate where you can find these connections naturally and seamlessly during planning. Now you will watch a video of a RLA and social studies integrated planning session. You may pause and review to take notes or utilize your IFDs and pacing tools as you follow along with the video.